I think we can get the hotel staff to bring us some more chairs. Looks like we have about 11 people who don't have seats, but we'll figure it out. This is an injunction here. I will say a few words and then we'll move on with the presentation we have. The essence of this presentation today is to focus on the evolution of education. Where are we as Ugandan youth? How far have we come in terms of our focus in getting where we want to be formally in our educational path? Are we utilizing all the resources which are available to us? Are the parents interjecting or having conversations with the young folks in their household to understand where their heads and mindsets are? Do they know what they want to do? Are they following their passion, or are they doing what the parents have informed them what's best for them? Oftentimes, we find that young folks would do what the parents in the household have told them, but it may be at conflict with their heart and their passion. We have a panelist speakers here today, and we're going to quickly allow them to just quick bio of who they are. The intent here is really to share the different walks of life that people have taken in their career professional course and path. We have an engineer, we have someone from the medical field, attorney, consultant, IT, engineering, and these individuals here have shared a lot of information that has really, I think, impacted all the young minds in this room. I'm going to give them the microphone. I've done enough talking for today, so Mohammed, please, can you stand if you don't mind? Please, everyone stand when you guys are doing your bio.
Hello, my name is Mohammed Luwumba. I am a criminal defense and white-collar crime attorney based here in Atlanta.
My name is Shamira Lukomwa. I'm an international development practitioner based here in Atlanta.
Hello, my name is Janat Jingo. I'm a medical student, a business student, and I am the executive director of the U.S. Education Fund, which provides scholarships for students.
Hello, my name is Rodney Kazibwe. I'm a legislative correspondent for United States Senator Charles Schumer from New York. Thank you for coming.
Hello, my name is Dennis Matoku. I'm an IT senior team lead manager and mentor here in the Atlanta community for VMware Airwatch. Thank you definitely for coming and spending time with us.
And myself being the host here, I've already addressed many folks here, but I don't believe that we mentioned Katikaro at the presentation yesterday. John Ssemanda, born and raised here in the United States, from Maryland, Silver Spring to be exact. Currently right now pursuing my MBA at Johns Hopkins University. I got my marketing degree at Penn State. Currently right now I'm working at Ernst & Young. I was at Deloitte & Touche for about 3 years doing strategy. And I talked a little bit about my ambition, which is to promote diversity and inclusiveness for us as Ugandans in the diaspora, to foster more unification and growth and prosperity from an economic development standpoint. That being said, I think we've really addressed the panel here. They were talking before everyone entered about their walks of their professional career, and just giving a lot of tokens of what they have experienced, things that people can take away from what they've done and how they can learn from it. We're now at the point where we're going to ask a couple questions in regards to their career path and what they've done. So, we can, leave it right here. We can talk a little bit about that. I don't know if we have a couple more sheets. We have some sheets of paper we can pass around here. We have the agenda. Haji, if you have a decent one. People in the back, anyone would like to, we have some extras here, so we can pass them in the back. Unfortunately, we don't have a slide which has the agenda. Actually, I can bring it up if you would like. we are now. We're right here with the panelist discussion, field of topics. We're going to go through all four. Start with number one, respective fields of profession. And if individuals need pens, we can have folks bring in pens to take some notes. If need be, just raise your hand. I have 2 individuals assisting in the back. We can get some pens. Panelists have already presented themselves. They've shared their background and experiences. I want to know why. Why did you go down the career path that you've chosen? Was there a certain element? Was it driven by your parents? What is it that motivated you? So I wanted to have everyone just briefly, if you guys don't mind, less than a minute, just share about why. Why did you choose to go down the career path that you did? And if there was one influential factor, please share it.
For me, I chose to go down the career path that I chose as an attorney is because I felt like I would be good at it. Again, my whole life I was groomed to in academia, but when I found my passion, which was student government, as I spoke on earlier, I won every election that I ever ran for in high school, and I won every election that I ever ran for in college. So I knew that if I brought those same skills into the courtroom, I could potentially win every case that I encountered. And I've never lost a case. I've won every trial that I've been to, or I pled out. And pleading out means that my client admitted to some charges and the prosecution dropped some charges, but I always got my client a good deal. But the main thing that is my passion is that I got sick of seeing people of color, in particular black people, being railroaded in the judicial system. And so when I go in the courtroom, my job is to make sure that regardless if the client is rich or the client is poor or the client is middle class, that I give the client $1 million service. And I give the client $1 million service not just for my own reputation and for my own business reputation, but also because that's my way of giving back to the community. Because like I said previously, before a lot of you came in, unfortunately when it comes to the law, you get what you pay for. And if you can't pay for a good lawyer, you're gonna eventually be railroaded. And if you can pay for a great lawyer, you're gonna get better service than someone who can't. So my passion and what motivated me to do what I'm doing is to really help people. But number one is I'm good at it, and I knew that I would be good at it. And that's the advice that I would give to the youth and the audience. Do what you're good at, and you will definitely excel.
So I'm in the field of international development, and I would say I credit my path into this, career field, basically from visiting Uganda at a young age. I was born in the US, but the first time I went to Uganda was when I was 6. And just being able, I think the exposure of kind of differences in terms of development from, being raised in the US and then going to Uganda and seeing how it's different. Not necessarily saying that everyone should be like the US, but I think for me, that is kind of where my passion kind of spearheaded from. My visits to Uganda and seeing some of the disparities between here and Uganda, and wanting to, ultimately my passion comes from wanting to uplift uplift all African people, but specifically Ugandans, because that's where my heritage is from. And I would say that that's pretty much been driving what I'm doing. So right now I'm working, and I'm also very passionate about education as well, and experiential education on top of that. I believe that there's a lot of power in being able to experience different walks of life. And I found it very shocking that, for example, I studied abroad while I was in university in Kenya. And so I went with a lot of my colleagues that all came from the United States, universities across the US. And I was wanting to see how powerful it would be to have Ugandan students travel throughout the country, because I know that through my work, I've been able to travel to different parts of Uganda, outside of Uganda, even though whenever I would go as when I was younger with my family, we would only stay in Uganda. But through my jobs, I've been able to actually travel to Gula, I've been able to travel to other parts of Uganda, places my parents actually haven't been to, and they were born and raised in Uganda. And so I really want to see Ugandan youth and African youth as a whole, being able to travel and learn from each other throughout the continent. I think there's something very powerful about that, and I believe that African development really is rooted in Pan-African dialogue and communication and collaboration, and that's really where my passion lies. And so I'm starting a master's in the fall, but post my master's degree, I really do want to start an organization that is bridging that Pan-African dialogue and collaboration and education. And that's really, I would say, all that passion did come from, being a Ugandan, being able to visit when I was younger, and really having that, knowing who I am, I would say is really what has driven me to where I'm going.
Hi everyone, my name is Janat Jingo, and I am a medical student and a business student, and I recently started a business to help give scholarships to students and to help students who graduate repay back student loans. What made me passionate is I do consider myself an academician. There's something about school. I know a lot of people don't like school, but I do like school, and school costs money, and I just feel like you shouldn't not go to school because you don't have the funds for that. So part of it is just my own passion for school and how to fund that, and to help other people do that as well. We all know about the student debt load that a lot of people are experiencing, and I just want to be a part of the social change that helps with that. In terms of my medical passions, I'm really specifically passionate about mental health. I feel like it's a big issue that goes on right now. You have people who are driving Benz and are super rich, but they're not happy. Why are we not happy? If you look outside, the sun is shining. The grass is green, there are flowers, nature's so beautiful. Look at everybody in this room. The number one predictor for mental health is personal relationships. So I'm just really passionate about connecting with people on a personal level and to try to get people to just see the brighter side. And that's why I like medicine. And putting them together, medicine and business, I want to be like a leader in medicine just to help drive that change. So that's my passion.
Hello everyone again, my name is Rodney Kazibwe. Currently I'm a legislative correspondent for U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer, and what does that mean? That means I communicate the senator's legislative policies to New Yorkers and the rest of the United States. He's a federal senator. So my passion is for political science, international affairs, the intersection of those two particular subjects. But that wasn't always, I didn't know that's what I wanted to do. I mean, I knew I always liked history, I always liked politics, and in some degree we all participate in politics, whether we want to or not. People are always like, oh, I hate politics, don't talk about politics, but whether you engage in it or not, it will affect you. So I like that dialogue, and I like the conversation. But actually, Dennis mentioned earlier, when I went to undergrad, I was supposed to be an engineer. I was studying engineering, and I also found out that I don't like math, and it makes me feel not good about myself, so I stopped. And another thing I want to kind of emphasize is that once you do figure out what your passion is, it's not a linear path to getting to where you're going to be working. And there's going to be bumps and turns along that route. And so I want to encourage our youth who are here, who we were kind of having this conversation earlier, is that you don't just one day wake up and say, yes, I figured it out, and then now I'm just going to do ABC, and everything will fall in place perfectly. There is a lot of kind of backtracking and trying out different things, and some things won't work. And I think we're going to get into this topic a little bit later on, but I do want to kind of point out that, and my sister has heard this spiel, but the 4-year degree is not for everyone, and there's a lot of other options for people. You don't necessarily have to go to a huge university. There's a lot of different options out there, trade schools, certifications, and there's some people who don't do well in a 4-year program. And so I think my biggest thing was that as I went through university, I learned that, this is great, but there's certainly a lot of options, and you kind of got to try different things and see what works for you. I started out at a small university, and I love that because for me, I think it allowed me to kind of get acclimated to university and college and see how that works. And then when I transferred to University of Georgia, which is, I started at an 8,000 student population school, and I went to UGA, which is 36,000. You can feel really small in a place like that, and if you're not ready for it, it can be overwhelming. And so I always encourage people we had some seniors up here and people going into the senior years, always explore your different options. There's not one academic track or one path that you should take. There's a lot of different things. So yeah.
So yeah, my name is Dennis Matogu. y'all's invited. So really getting into it, I guess my passion came from when growing up. I guess me and my brothers, we were kind of given the freedom to know that we didn't have to follow our parents' passion. Our parents' passion is medicine. And everybody assumed, why didn't you become a doctor? Both your parents were doctors. And my parents were like, you don't have to be a doctor. And none of the boys were. We just didn't like the hours. We didn't like the fact that you go practice medicine, and then there's the business of medicine. And understanding that there's a lot of the money that you make goes to making sure you don't get sued. And you're no longer allowed to go out there and really treat the patient, because instead you have to meet the numbers to keep the practice alive. And me and my brothers, we didn't necessarily gravitate toward that. So I thought I'd like engineering, I love cars, and figured out I don't like cars. I don't like to build them, I love to drive them, but I don't like to build them. And then I got into business, and I realized that the market wasn't necessarily directly able to get me into business. And so what I found was people love to do startups. Smaller companies are out there and they're eager to get someone who has fresh ideas and things like that. So I helped them out. And then I said, okay, where's the money in business really flowing to regardless of the economy? And it was always in IT. And my little brother, he loves IT, and I said, what's the easiest thing I can learn in IT? He said, Dennis, you're gonna love it. Go learn data. Go learn how data moves. And when you do that, someone will hire you. And after that, if you know how to communicate how data moves and why we should care, you will always have a place in corporate America, or if you want to do your own business. And so then my passion is to share and to mentor within business and within IT. And I didn't discover that until probably, 5 years ago? And I was 32 years old. I didn't know this was going to be my passion when I was 18 to 20-something in college. But I was given the freedom to figure it out. Now I had to figure out how to get the money and pay my way and be able to survive. But outside of that, I was really able to kind of figure out what it was. And now that I found it, things are a lot easier, a lot more. There's no more fog. There's a purpose now. And so that's the thing. Continue figuring out what it is that you want to do. Figure out how you're going to finance what it is you're going to do. And then once you find it, just go do it. Because it's going to be a lot of fun. As long as you're, all the panelists said, once you're good at it, the money will show up. Don't even worry about that. People are going to pay for you because you're excited about what you do. And you're good at what you do. So, yeah, I guess that'd be it for me.
Thank you very much, panelists. It's a good injection here. I wanted to acknowledge that we have the Honorable Ruth. You have to, I apologize here, I may not pronounce the last name as it should be. Nabakido? She's the government chief, cabinet minister, and she's an MP, and I wanted to make sure that we acknowledge her. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And in addition, I'd also like to have the Katikado please share a few thoughts in terms of what you've heard today. Yes, please come up to the front. And then if there's any words of inspiration you can share with us, young minds, we appreciate it.
I hope you can understand my accent, because I speak with a Ghanaian accent. Much as you speak with an American accent, which at times I strive to understand, I expect you to experience a similar thing. But I'm very pleased to meet with youngsters who have chosen to participate with their parents in this convention, which I think is extremely important. Because the Kabaka back home, the Kabaka is the king, has dedicated his reign to the youth. Essentially because the youth, being within the youthful bracket, is the most important segment of our life. So meeting young people like you, focused, is very inspiring for me. So I thank John Ssemanda, who I think is the main man around here, and the rest of the guys who have shared the experience with us. Given my Ugandan background, I can't pretend to know how a young man or woman, in the US chooses a career path. The circumstances are a little bit different, except for the young lady next to Tony, who has been to Uganda a number of times. For the rest of you, I guess your minds operate like any American's mind. So it could be a little pretentious for me to guide you on this subject, but I have a few things to say. Everyone has a passion or an inclination towards some career. When I finished primary school, I don't know what you call it here.
Grade school.
Do you call it primary school?
Grade.
Middle school?
Grade school.
Grade school? Mm-hmm. When I finished primary school, I could make a mistake.
Yeah.
My father wanted me to be a doctor. And I went to one of the best schools in Uganda, St. Henry's College in Masaka. It's one of the best schools. Of course, OHT Wakajuri thinks King's College Budo is the best. But of course, it's mistaken. And my father said, now that you're in this school, you can really turn out to be a doctor. But I was inclined towards the arts. And I ended up studying law at university. My learned friend is here. That's how we call ourselves back in Uganda. I don't know whether the attorneys in the US are learned like us in Uganda. She's a lawyer too. She's Kawaka's Minister for Cabinet and Luchika Affairs. So, yeah. I think passion should be coupled with inclination or even ability to do something. I have a relative. She wants to sing all the time. She's tried to join different choirs, but she can't sing. The voice is not good. When she goes to, do they call it audition? When she goes to audition, she's kicked out by the choir master all the time. But she says, I want to be a singer. You can't be a singer unless you can sing. Passion must be coupled with an inclination towards something, or even ability. I think I had a thing about public speaking. I love to debate, generally to communicate. I had those skills, I think. What do the Americans say? If you've got a trumpet, blow it. The English say don't blow your own trumpet, so I've just been doing the American thing, blowing my own trumpet. I thought I had a bit of communication skills. And of course, because I was inclined towards the arts, it was sort of natural for me ending up as a lawyer. But I think if I had options before me back then, I think I would have preferred business, seriously. I think it's more interesting than law practice and all these things. And, when I joined the Ministry of Justice, soon after training as a lawyer, I was posted in the Department of Public Prosecutions. I was a public prosecutor. And my bosses thought I was good. But I always preferred to practice commercial law because I always loved the commercial transactions. So I think if I had all these options, if I had been brought up in the US, I think maybe I would have preferred business from the word go. But there it is. Passion and an inclination towards something or ability, I think they go hand in hand. And youngsters must have a dream. I think Kaziwe talked about that. Are you a son of Dr. Kaziwe of Masaka? By any chance? Yeah? Oh, Nende.
Dr. Matu.
Dr. Matov. You know, youngsters must have a dream. But you don't conquer the world because you dreamt. No. When we're young, we always think we're going to be presidents. Many young people in Uganda want to be pilots. There are no planes in our country, but all of them want to be pilots. That's the kind of dream they have. And you know, others want to be presidents, but there is only one president, at least for the last 30 years in Uganda. So what chances I don't have of being president? You know? And now that I'm Katikiro, I visit schools and all these things a lot. And many of the kids tell me, I want to be Katikiro. Which is a possibility actually. But while you must have the dreams, and whatever those dreams may be, you must be like Martin Luther King. You must be like Martin Luther King Jr. Take the road that takes you to the mountaintop. He had a dream that the blacks would be free at some point in time, and he took the road. That's why all of you are doing what you are right now. That's why President Obama was able to be president of the US. So if you have the dreams, you must take the road that takes you to the mountaintop from which you can see your dream, see the realities of those dreams. And you should always be focused. I told John Ssemanda here that I like him a lot because he seems to be focused. I don't know him that much, but considering that he can organize this kind of forum, he must have focus. If you're not focused on the things in life that can bring you happiness, you're going to be a failure. It's almost a given. And the time to be focused is when you were young. There are 4 segments in life, as I conclude, that determine how we turn out to be in life. Actually, they don't determine how we turn out to be in life, but that's what life is. You start by being an infant. When they tell you when to eat, when to go to school, when to go to the bathroom and all these things. And secondly, you are youth. Like all of you, the infants are here, they want to sleep. As you can see, they are a little bored. The young man is saying, what is this guy talking about? That's the first stage, infancy. Then youthfulness, adulthood, and of course old age. Now the most important segment in life is the youth segment. Because when you're an infant, people are going to tell you what to do. So pretty obvious. Now when you are in the youth bracket, that's when you take the decisions that determine the other 2 segments. Like these guys have taken their decisions. You cannot decide to be young when you are an adult. And in Uganda, we have a saying, you see a 45-year-old man, a 50-year-old man is competing for space in a nightclub with, teenagers. What were you doing when you were a teenager? Yeah? And of course, what you do as an adult, which depends on what decisions you took as a youth, determine how your old age is going to be. And back home in Uganda, old people are always sulking over the weekend. That children didn't come to bring them meat. Their social security is their children. Also have their own challenges. So now is the time, because you're young people, to take those decisions, have those dreams, but you must take the road that go to the mountain, that lead you to the mountaintop. That's extremely important. That's why I find this kind of forum extremely inspiring. Thank you very much for the attention, and God bless you. This is Princess Joan. Nasolo, she's the Kabaka's daughter, and she carried the Kabaka's message. And Nava, I don't know how we call Nava in English. You know, I think she's a princess in English because she's a daughter of a princess. The sister of the Kabaka is the mother of this beautiful lady here. We call her Nava in Luganda. We call her Omumbeja. This is Nava. You know, this is the Minister for Cabinet and Luchika Affairs. Luchiko is Uganda's Grand Council. This is Dr. Ben Chwankamkwaya. There is a guy who talked about long hours in the hospital. This man is a doctor here. He's Kabaka's Minister for Health. And this is Oichitibwa Noah Chiimba. He's the Kabaka's Minister for Information and Communication. And this is a minister in the central government. You know, because you know Uganda is a kingdom within a bigger Uganda. Now she's a minister in the central government. She's a member of parliament. She's what they call her the chief whip. She's supposed to get a cane and whip those lazy politicians that belong to a political party. And let me tell you, many of them are very lazy. except her. And he's Omutaka Kaira. Omutaka is clan head. She's the head. She's the head of Mbogo clan. Mbogo is the buffalo. That's the totem. And by the way, Honorable Nankabirwa is a member of the Mbogo clan. If any of you belong to the Mbogo clan, that's your Senga. Oh, and Dr. Mkwaya is also of the Buffalo clan. And OHT Wakajubi, what's Wakajubi, is Kabaka's representative. Sorry. Kabaka's representative in Boston. I hear you call it Boston around here. I don't know how you pronounce those words. I always think the Americans get the wrong way, but you know, you're a powerful country, so we live with it. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much. It was a very wonderful speech, and I was hoping that you'll just share maybe 2 minutes worth of anything you've taken from here, or you can share any light with us, if you don't mind, please. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you for having me. I was really inspired by you guys' speeches, and just it's inspiring that you get to share your experiences with other youth members here as well. And especially since we're all from Uganda, we have different experiences. Some people go back home, some people just stay here to study. So it's good to hear both sides of the story. I went to school here as well. I did my master's at NYU in communications and public relations, and sometimes it's easier to get the same experience from different people from those back home, because they don't necessarily have go through the same things that we do. So thank you John, thank you for creating this forum to share with other people, and it's inspiring, and keep on doing what you do, and God bless.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. So we have many items we can talk about today on the agenda, which I'll bring up shortly. But for the interest of time, I want to really target 2 to 3 more areas here, which hopefully the panelists can address. But what we have next on the agenda is about the pursuit, the journey. What does that look like? And I was hoping in a very less than 1 minute, each panelist can talk about the transition from their educational career to where they are right now. What does that look like? And if you can touch on maybe just one element that has really enabled you to make the transition, that'd be great. Then we can move to the next topic. Mohammed, we can start with you.
One of the elements for me was actually 2 elements. Is I noticed a lot of people are afraid to start with their dream because they're afraid to be seen starting at the bottom. And you really have to start at the bottom if you want to start your dream. And for me, my main element to get to where I am right now was focus. I was 100% focused on my goal. I took the bar exam 3 times before I passed it. The bar exam, I mean, after you graduate from law school, people don't realize you have to take the bar exam before you can practice law. The bar exam is a 12-hour, 2-day exam. It's not a joke. So you're studying for 3 months so you can take a 12-hour exam that goes over a period of 2 days. 6 hours one day, 6 hours the next day, and if you fail it, they only give the exam twice a year. So I passed it on my 3rd time. So I had to change a lot of things about my life in order to pass this exam, because studying for the bar exam is like a job. I was studying 9 to 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, no breaks, just being 100% focused. So to get to where I am right now is a very simple journey. I just stayed focused on my goal 100%, and I altered my life around the goal of passing the bar exam so I could ultimately practice. So the advice I want to give to the young people is just stay focused. If you have a goal, make sure that you mold your entire life around attaining that goal, and just be nuclear focused on that goal, laser sighted focused on that goal. But that's what I had to do. And I kept telling myself, no matter how many times I failed this exam, I'm just going to keep taking it. And the 3rd time I eventually passed it because I was 100% focused on my goal. So that's how I got to where I am right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to acknowledge that the Katikiro and everyone here, unfortunately they have a very busy schedule, a lot of other engagements. Wanted to thank them for being here with us today and allow them to be able to continue on with the rest of the engagement. Thank you very much.